The truth about Jawas reveals something far darker than the galaxy realizes. What everyone sees instead are small scavengers wandering the deserts of Tatooine in mobile sandcrawlers, selling broken droids and salvaged junk to moisture farmers who dismiss them as harmless traders with a reputation for bad repairs and petty theft. High-pitched voices, fearful scattering, and comedic presence in every encounter combine to make genuine danger seem absurd. This carefully constructed image has shaped interactions across the galaxy for generations, allowing farmers to permit close access to property, settlers to neglect serious security measures, and droids to lower their guard before getting captured. However, Canon and Legends sources reveal the deception behind the performance. The dark truth is this: Jawas are predators who weaponized cuteness. Everything about them is calculated deception. None of it represents genuine timidity or harmlessness. They learned that appearing helpless allows them to approach valuable targets undetected. As a result, the galaxy sees creatures too weak to pose a danger. This perception functions as operational camouflage. Every aspect of their presentation serves this deception. Their small stature makes other species dismiss them as non-threatening. Settlers fail to implement serious security, and droids get captured before recognizing the threat. The deception begins with what they hide beneath the robes. They conceal their true appearance, which would horrify other species. The Complete Visual Dictionary, a canon source, describes their rodent-like faces as remarkably hideous. Despite their hidden faces, xenobiologists obtained this knowledge through post-mortem examination. Through studying corpses and skeletal remains, researchers discovered gaunt, rodent-like creatures with shrunken faces and yellow eyes. The living maintain their secret, possibly fearing that an unsettling appearance could jeopardize business with squeamish buyers. Beyond the concealment, the robes establish visual uniformity. Individual Jawas become indistinguishable, making it difficult to identify which Jawa committed a theft or determine which clan operated under a particular sandcrawler. This anonymity offers Jawas operational advantages. What lies behind this carefully constructed facade reveals the first major crime. They operate prisons for sentient beings. The Complete Visual Dictionary uses specific terminology when describing what happens inside those sandcrawlers. Droid prisons. Not storage areas or holding cells, but prisons. In the Star Wars universe, droids function as thinking, feeling beings with personalities, memories, and the capacity for fear. When Jawas capture these beings, this constitutes the capturing of sentient individuals. The capture process reveals calculated efficiency. Jawas use ion blasters to immobilize their captives without destroying them. Then, weld small tracking discs onto droid frames and attach control boxes that deliver electric shocks to enforce obedience. Once installed, the restraining bolts override a droid's programming, forcing compliance even when every circuit registers distress. From capture to sale, droids remain held in storage chambers inside the sandcrawlers, prodded into lines with hand weapons. The ones still capable of walking get herded outside when the sandcrawler reaches a settlement. The ones that cannot move get stripped for parts or melted down in onboard smelters. The scale of the operation reveals this is not an opportunistic crime, but systematic trafficking. Secrets of Tatooine confirms that sandcrawlers house as many as several hundred clan members, packed together in a maze of sleeping quarters, storage compartments, scrap piles, ventilation ducts, and walkways. The droid prisoners share this space with their captors, confined in the bowels of the vehicle that roams the desert, hunting for more prey. The captives understand their situation completely. The Ultimate Alien Anthology documents that Jawas carry ion grenades to stop droid uprisings aboard their crowded sandcrawlers. Multiple droids rebel together, and these incidents happen frequently. The captives know they are imprisoned, understand they are being sold, and resist. The vehicles themselves represent the ultimate expression of Jawa ingenuity and desperation. In Legends continuity, These massive sandcrawlers originated as nuclear fusion-powered ore-hauling vehicles abandoned by off-world mining contractors during the reign of the Old Republic. When mining companies departed Tatooine, they left behind giant mobile refineries designed to extract and process minerals across vast desert distances. The Jawas discovered these abandoned behemoths and claimed them as their own. The transformation from mining vehicle to mobile fortress demonstrates remarkable adaptation. Over centuries, Jawas modified the sandcrawlers to such an extent that their original mining purpose became virtually undetectable. The massive ore processors got converted into repair shops. Meanwhile, mineral storage bays became droid holding cells. Crew quarters designed for a few dozen miners now house up to 300 Jawas in cramped, maze-like conditions. The vehicles function as fully equipped workshops, allowing skilled reconstructions as clans make their journey across the desert wastes. These mobile fortresses serve multiple purposes beyond simple transportation. They provide protection from the harsh desert environment, shielding inhabitants from twin suns, sandstorms, and predators. The thick armor plating, originally designed to withstand the stress of heavy mining operations, now protects against attacks. The elevated position of the command deck allows scouts to survey vast distances for salvage opportunities or approaching threats. The sheer size intimidates potential attackers, making even Tusken raiders think twice before engaging a fully operational sandcrawler. The nuclear fusion reactors that power these vehicles continue functioning after decades of Jawa maintenance, though few Jawas truly comprehend the technology they operate. They have developed temporary solutions and workarounds across several centuries of use. The sandcrawlers lumber across the desert at slow but steady speeds, their massive treads leaving deep furrows in the sand that mark their passage for days afterward. When a sandcrawler approaches a settlement, the distinctive engine sound announces its arrival long before the vehicle becomes visible on the horizon. Despite this reality, the Jawas present their operations as salvage and repair services. The galaxy accepts this framing because the alternative requires acknowledging that the cute scavengers in brown robes operate mobile prisons. The dissonance proves too uncomfortable. Therefore, the galaxy chooses to see repair services instead of trafficking operations. Another dark truth: the fraud extends beyond the trafficking itself into engineered dependency. In canon continuity, Ultimate Star Wars designates Jawas as notorious hucksters of hastily refurbished junk. When a droid proves too battered to repair, it gets cannibalized for spare parts. New owners who examine a purchased droid may discover mismatched internal components from completely different machines, as Jawa artificers make no distinction between parts designed for different purposes. More significantly, in Legends, Secrets of Tatooine reveals they take pride in their ability to sell items that only work for a short time. As long as the machine operates when the Jawas are over the horizon, the job reaches completion. By engineering their repairs to fail, they create a cycle where farmers must keep buying parts. This represents calculated exploitation designed to create dependency. The economic system demonstrates sophisticated planning. Rather than merely stealing and reselling, they use theft itself as a business model. When a sandcrawler approaches a community, citizens quickly stow all possessions safely away because theft functions as standard operating procedure. Moisture farmers often discover their property disappearing, only to find it turning up in the possession of a Jawa selling it at a tidy profit. The biological barriers function as uncrackable communication security. Jawas emit a strong, distinct odor, resulting from a mysterious solution in which they dip their clothes to retain body moisture, combined with infrequent bathing and their pheromonal communication methods. Their language consists of almost meaningless syllables that only achieve meaning when combined with smell-based emphasis. Even when a Jawa does not actively converse, their specific scent communicates their mood to others. This biological system ensures outsiders cannot understand their full conversations. When they speak Jawa trade language with moisture farmers, they employ only the simplified version. The real negotiations, the actual plans, and the true intentions remain communicated through scents other species cannot detect. Non-Jawas cannot learn the full Jawa language unless they possess enhanced smell abilities, which means they operate freely in a language the galaxy cannot crack. Although they can learn to understand other languages, most find it nearly impossible to speak any language except their own, due to biological limitations rather than stubbornness. Another dark truth: the deception reaches its darkest expression in how they commodify their own species. In Legends, Jawas barter sons and daughters as marriage merchandise. Secrets of Tatooine explains that marriages proceed with every bit as much intense trading as bartering for scrap. Families negotiate dowries and terms the same way they debate the value of a broken motivator or rusty hull plating. A daughter from one clan might undergo exchange for a son from another, with spare parts or water rations included to balance the transaction. This does not represent desperate survival measures, but rather a species that learned to turn everything, including their own offspring, into negotiable assets. A species that can commodify its own children can commodify anything. The clans function at a small scale, and without genetic diversity, they would collapse into inbreeding and extinction. Therefore, children become a valuable commodity, functioning as insurance against genetic stagnation and bargaining chips for interclan alliances. The clan system itself operates with calculated precision to ensure species survival. Jawa culture centers on family and clan identity. Legend sources confirm that their language includes 43 different terms to describe relationships, lineage, and bloodline. Clans keep track of these relations with extreme detail, recording family lines across generations. Few Jawas ever leave the clan lifestyle, and those who do typically end up in disreputable Tatooine cities such as Mos Eisley and Mos Espa, operating as independent traders or fixers. Once per year, all the clans meet at a giant gathering in the Great Basin of the Dune Sea. This massive convergence brings together thousands of Jawas from across Tatooine. The gathering serves multiple purposes beyond the marriage negotiations. Clans share stories of profitable salvage sites and dangerous territories. They trade rare parts and valuable scrap that individual clans cannot use. They exchange information about human settlement patterns and Tusken raider movements. The gathering functions as an intelligence network where isolated clans synchronize their knowledge of the ever-changing desert landscape. The event also reinforces clan hierarchies and resolves disputes. During these gatherings, shamans from different clans meet to discuss spiritual matters and coordinate protective rituals. At the same time, master repair experts demonstrate new techniques for salvaging complex technology. Young Jawas meet potential mates from other clans, though their families handle the actual negotiations behind the scenes. The gathering represents the only time when Jawas operate as a unified species rather than as competing clans. However, even here, the trading and bargaining never stop. Resource management in the harsh desert environment demonstrates additional calculated survival strategies. For water, Jawas insert long, thin hoses down the stems of the funnel flower, a plant native to Tatooine, and siphon off the liquid stored inside. This technique allows them to extract moisture without destroying the plant, ensuring future harvests. Their primary food source consists of hubba-gourd, a fruit that humans find difficult to digest. In the Jawa language, hubba-gourd translates to the staff of life, indicating its central importance to their diet and survival. For salvage they cannot repair or resell, Jawas utilize high-powered solar smelters that melt materials into saleable ingots. These smelters harness Tatooine's intense twin-sun radiation to achieve the extreme temperatures needed for metal processing. The ingots get traded to off-world merchants and mining operations, providing income even from completely worthless junk. Nothing gets wasted in Jawa culture. Every scrap of metal, every broken component, every piece of salvage finds either immediate use or gets stored for future need. This philosophy extends beyond mere frugality into existential necessity for a species surviving on the margins. Even their apparent victimhood serves complex purposes rather than reflecting simple vulnerability. Fortresses frequently suffer attacks by Tusken raiders who kill Jawas to take their scavenged treasures and precious water. This creates the perception of Jawas as the injured party, which generates sympathy from human colonizers. The conflict between these two species operates on a level outsiders rarely comprehend. The relationship between Jawas and Tusken raiders demonstrates calculated survival rather than genuine fear. While a portion of each clan travels in sandcrawlers searching for salvage, the remainder stays behind in permanent clan fortresses. As documented in Legends, these fortresses consist of large chunks of wrecked spacecraft, assembled into elaborate fortifications that dot the desert landscape. Master repair experts reside in these fortresses, performing advanced salvage procedures that exceed the capacity of sandcrawler workshops. Tusken raiders target these fortresses specifically to pillage scavenged treasures and precious water supplies. The attacks prove brutal and methodical. Sand people will kill Jawas without hesitation during these raids, viewing the fortresses as resource caches rather than homes. This harsh reality contributes greatly to the cautious, almost paranoid nature that Jawas exhibit in all their dealings. Despite their size disadvantage, Jawas prove resourceful when cornered. They are not natural fighters, and their typical response involves retreat rather than confrontation. However, when escape proves impossible, they demonstrate surprising capability with the weapons they scavenge from the desert sands. Ion blasters, thermal detonators, and jury-rigged defensive systems transform the fortresses into formidable obstacles. The thick walls of salvaged starship hulls provide protection, while elevated positions allow defenders to rain fire on attackers. Tusken raiders, despite their ferocity, typically shy away from massive sandcrawler fortresses, recognizing the calculated risk involved in assaulting a well-defended position. Yet the exception to their usual retreat behavior reveals the one genuine element in their culture. The Legends source Essential Guide to Alien Species describes the most prominent member of each clan as the shaman, who is always a female. Studies performed before Emperor Palpatine's ascension suggest these female shamans exhibited something similar to force abilities, though this lacks scientific proof. She does not travel in the sandcrawler, but remains behind at the permanent fortress, protected above all else. The shamans wield power that transcends simple leadership through methods that blur the line between mysticism and authority. Unlike any Jedi, these female shamans perform elaborate spells, hexes, and blessings to protect the tribe and provide wellness for its members. The sources document these practices as integral to clan survival, rather than mere superstition. The spells invoke protection against desert dangers, while the hexes target enemies and misfortune. Meanwhile, the blessings ensure successful salvage operations and profitable trades. Whether these practices actually tap into force abilities or function as psychological mechanisms that unify the clan remains scientifically unproven. However, their effect on clan cohesion is undeniable. Each shaman takes on a student during her tenure, training this apprentice to take her place when she passes away. The knowledge passes directly from teacher to student, ensuring continuity of practices across generations. The clan shaman, through her influence, controls most tribal decisions relating to defenses, travel, and day-to-day operations. Her spiritual authority maintains cultural continuity and prevents innovation that might threaten proven survival methods. In a species existing on the edge of extinction, where one wrong decision could destroy the entire clan, the shaman's conservative guidance proves essential. They will accept terrible losses defending the one thing they value above survival itself. Jawas will fight to defend the shaman, even facing certain defeat. The Essential Guide to Alien Species records that anthropologist Hoole documented what occurred when Tusken raiders attacked a fortress. He witnessed Jawas defending the shaman's home against Tusken raiders with a ferocity of beings twice their size. They did not retreat or surrender, though nearly 3/4 of the Jawas lost their lives in the process. However, because the shaman lived, and much of the clan operated away in the sandcrawler, the clan would survive to rebuild. Even this genuine devotion serves the system, as the shaman maintains cultural continuity and provides spiritual authority that keeps the clan unified. Understanding why they became predators who weaponized weakness requires examining their origins. In Legends continuity, competing theories exist about their origins, though none achieve confirmation. One theory proposes descent from an ancient species known as the Kumumga. Another suggests evolution from rodents that gradually increased in size. Earlier accounts describe an environmental disaster that transformed Tatooine from a world with underground water into the desert wasteland documented in the films. This catastrophe destroyed their underground springs and forced a choice between adaptation and extinction. The phenomenon of their glowing eyes supports the underground origins theory. In canon sources, their glowing eyes assist vision in dark crevices. According to Legends sources, Jawas use polished orange gemstones called Durant fire embedded in their facial coverings to protect their sensitive vision from bright sunlight. A species with eyes adapted for darkness appears poorly suited for a desert world with twin suns. If they truly inhabited underground cave systems around natural springs, their biology would have adapted to low-light environments. When the springs dried up and forced them to surface, they already functioned as creatures of darkness attempting to survive in blinding light. The final dark truth: they are not invaders or colonizers, but displaced natives reduced to 5% of their own world. In Legends, Secrets of Tatooine makes a significant claim. Jawas may represent the only truly native-thinking species on Tatooine. The scale of their displacement becomes clear in the population data. The Essential Atlas documents that out of approximately 200,000 inhabitants, only 10,000 are Jawas. They face a 14-to-1 numerical disadvantage against humans on their own homeworld. They took possession of abandoned mining equipment left by off-world mining concerns and converted giant mobile refineries into rolling fortresses. As humans arrived and established settlements, the native Jawas were pushed to the margins through immigration rather than military conquest. A species reduced to 5% of its own world develops survival strategies that others cannot understand. This explains their conservative culture. Innovative Jawas receive treatment as liabilities. Clan members who would make decisions affecting the sandcrawler receive no authority. The logic proves simple. One wrong decision could destroy the entire clan. Therefore, proven methods receive exact repetition as they have for generations. Survival depends on predictability, not innovation. The galaxy made assumptions based on appearance and never questioned them. The Jawas understood this vulnerability and built an entire culture around exploiting it. What began as survival evolved into something more calculated. The displacement forced adaptation. The adaptation became a strategy. The strategy became a culture. Now, centuries later, the system functions so smoothly that questioning it would threaten the species itself. The desert does not care about morality. It only cares about what survives. The Jawas survived. But the Jawas represent only one consequence of how isolation and abandonment breed desperate survival strategies. The question remains, why did half the Star Wars galaxy become unexplored in the first place? And what other horrors evolved in regions the Republic intentionally ignored? The unknown regions contain threats that make Jawa trafficking operations seem trivial by comparison. Then, to understand how extinction-level events truly reshape entire species across millennia, the complete history of the Sith species demonstrates transformation on a scale that dwarfs even Tatooine's environmental collapse. To discover why vast sections of the galaxy remain deliberately unexplored, and how 100,000 years of Sith evolution created horrors beyond imagination, watch these videos next.